Hi, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use Paula's Choice 8% AHA Gel Exfoliant, which can be used in the morning and or evening, and it is suitable for all skin types. Now there are different AHAs, and the most common one is glycolic acid. This is what's being used in this solution. So you're working with an 8% glycolic acid solution that helps to exfoliate the skin. And it does this on the skin surface. So it helps to loosen the dead skin cells on the skin surface, which then can help you to improve textured skin, dullness, as well as fine lines and wrinkles, surface hyperpigmentation such as post-acne marks or sunspots, and at the same time hydrates the skin within. And so this is why it's usually referred to being a bit more suitable if you have a drier skin type. But this does not mean that it won't work if you have an oilier skin type. If you're currently using it or you want to use it for your oily skin type and it works well for you, keep on going with it. But usually if you have an oilier skin type, you want to regulate the oiliness and you're more common to have like clogged pores, then it's usually best to refer to a BHA, like a salicylic acid solution, so that you have an idea of for whom it may be a bit more suitable in case you want to give this one a try. And so when working with Paula's Choice AHA, it does mention you can use it in the morning and or evening, so you could theoretically use it once or twice per day daily if tolerated. But to make sure that you will figure out what frequency will work the best for you and that you're not ending up with sensitivity, I recommend starting off slowly so that you will figure out what's working well for you. And everyone has a different skin tolerance, everyone has different skin issues. Maybe someone that's older or has more dead skin cells on the skin surface is able to use it more often, that someone just wanted to smoothen the skin texture a bit. So there are different degrees of how severe your concern may be, and based on that you need to adjust it. So if someone is able to use it daily, this may not work right away for you, or you may not be able to use it up to daily, because if you would end up with sensitivity. And so based on that, I want to share with you an overall general guide, which you can adjust over time, of course. Now, when being new to an AHA exfoliant and you aren't sure how your skin is going to respond to it, you can start off by using it 2 to 3 times per week up to every other day, so that you have 1 or 2 days in between where you're giving your skin a break. And you can do this for, let's say, about a month, so that you will see how this current frequency is working for you. If you feel like your current frequency works well for you, no sensitivity has occurred, you have already seen some improvements, and keep on going with that current frequency, because there's no need to use it more often if using it less often does already the job for your skin concerns. However, if you feel like, well, it does not do anything if I'm just using it a couple of times, a few times per week, I want to use it more often, then the next step would be using it once per day daily. And in this example, and when using it every other day, I would recommend using it at first in your evening skincare routine alone, since we're working with an exfoliating acid that can make the skin sensitive to the sun. And then once you see, well, using it once per day daily works much better for me, I can see some improvements, then again, there's no need to use it more often if once per day does the job for you. If you feel like by using it once per day daily you end up with sensitivity, then again you would reduce the frequency. And then lastly, if you have really stubborn skin concerns, then you can use it up to 2 times per day daily. And this would be done in the morning as well as evening. Now, what you have to keep in mind when working with an exfoliating acid, as I already mentioned, is sun protection during daytime when being exposed to the sun. In the evening, there's no sun protection needed. And so it is important, not because glycolic acid makes the skin sensitive to the sun, but because of how it works. Due to the exfoliation on the skin surface, you are revealing healthier and newer skin cells, and those are a bit more sensitive, so you're more likely to end up with a sunburn. And so therefore, when being exposed to direct sunlight or being exposed to the sun for especially if you're being exposed to the sun for several hours, sun protection is key, because you do not want to make your skin concerns worse, you want to improve them. And so this is now where I have prepared for you some example skincare routines, so that you have an idea of how you can set it up, as well as what you have to avoid when working with it. Now, you can use this exfoliating acid solution on its own, because it is a very lightweight hydrating lotion which you do not have to add anything else into your skincare routine if you do not feel the need. So if you now say, well, I want to use it in the morning, then you can keep it very simple. Start off by washing your face using a gentle and suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs. Wash your face, rinse it off. Then move on to the gel exfoliant, apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, and then follow with sun protection afterwards, which can either be a moisturizer that already contains SPF or regular sunscreen. So this would be a very simple, straightforward morning routine. However, when it comes to an evening routine, of course, it always depends on how dry your skin may be. If you have normal skin, then using a moisturizer afterwards may not be needed. Same would apply if you're going to use it if you have an oilier skin type. So again, you would start off by using a gentle cleanser at first. You may want to do a double cleanse to make sure that your makeup and or sunscreen comes properly off the skin. Rinse it off, pat the skin dry. Move on to your 8% gel exfoliant, apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin. And then either you can stop right there, or if you have like a drier skin type, then of course you can follow with a moisturizer afterwards that's working well for your skin concerns as well as for your skin types. So it can help you to hydrate and calm the skin. And this would be an example of an evening skincare routine. However, if you now say, well, I have other skincare products at home, such as maybe an hydrating and soothing toner or other serums or other treatments, then of course you can include them in your skincare routine. And so you can either again use the exfoliant in the morning and or evening. So in the morning, you would start off with gentle cleanser, use an hydrating and soothing toner, move on to your exfoliant, then your serums and treatments, and then follow with sun protection, moisturizer with SPF or regular sunscreen. When it comes to an evening routine, it looks very similar, just without the sun protection. Use a gentle cleanser, maybe you want to do a double cleanse, then move on to your hydrating and soothing toner, your exfoliant, your serums and treatments, and then if needed, your moisturizer at the end. And then there you have it. This would be a bit more of an advanced skincare routine. Now, I do want to point out that with the products that I just have shared with you in my example routines, those are just examples that, for example, work great if you have a drier skin type. Of course, if you have different skincare products at home, you can exchange it, but the step won't change. But when it now comes to what you have to avoid, then it's mainly, well, one point that I do want to emphasize is because it actually conflicts, and the other examples it's more because it can lead to sensitivity very easily. And so if you're working, for example, with ordinary skincare products as well, then what you have to keep in mind is the ordinary peptides, because the ordinary does say, well, please do not use exfoliating acids in the same routine with the peptide serums. So in this case, if you should have one of the ordinary peptides at home, please keep them in separate routines when using your AHA exfoliant. So use your peptide in the morning, your exfoliant in the evening, and that's basically it. Then another example would be where you really have to be careful, especially in the beginning, is retinol. Now, when it comes to retinol, I'm going to keep my main focus onto like Paula's Choice retinol products, because I believe that those are so far the strongest retinol products that I have tried myself. So therefore, I recommend being careful with it. The same would apply to other retinol products, especially if they're using a certain percentage of retinol, such as 0.2, 0.5, or even 1% of retinol. The higher up you're going in strength with your retinol, the more likely it's causing sensitivity already on its own. And then if you would combine it with your exfoliant, the sensitivity can occur more likely and may be a bit more severe. Since retinol as well as exfoliating acids somewhat exfoliate kind of in the same way, they like remove the dead skin cells to renew like your skin underneath so that you have a healthier appearance. And so therefore, when working with retinol, same would apply to retinoids, but if you're working with like tretinoin, I recommend asking your doctor for the best advice. But when working with retinol or retinoids, keep them separate if you're working with an exfoliant as well. And if you're being new to an exfoliant, use that one at first on its own before adding your retinol or retinoid during the same week, but in a different routine, to make sure that you will figure out at first the frequency of your exfoliating acid and then add your retinol or retinoid to the same like skincare routine week, but keep them separate. Please do not use them in the same routine. And to some degree, you have to really adjust the frequency of both products, because it can get quite painful if you're using them too often or even in the same routine. This may not help apply to you right away when doing this combination, but it can happen over time, and then you have to stop completely to give your skin some time to recover from that sensitivity that occurred. So therefore, this is really a point that I do want to emphasize. This can become quite painful. Another one would be strong vitamin C. So I'm talking about more than 20% of ascorbic acid due to the low pH of both products, as well as the strength of your exfoliant, as well as your strong vitamin C product. I have a few examples right here, but those are just examples. What you have to keep in mind is that please keep them separate, because again, sensitivity may occur. And this is mainly due to the low pH, because your skin can only tolerate a certain pH, and then after that it starts to sting and burn. And so therefore I recommend keeping them separate and not using them in the same routine due to the high percentage as well. And another point that I do want to mention is other exfoliating acids. This could be exfoliating acids cleansers, leave-on exfoliating acid solutions, or even exfoliating acid mask. Please do not use Paula's Choice 8% AHA gel in the same routine with other exfoliating acids. Alternate between them, because again, it may be too much for your skin, because at some point your skin will not have that many dead skin cells on the skin surface anymore, and then when it reaches your healthier skin cells, then this can again sting or burn on the skin. Therefore, keep an eye on the frequency as well, not only not using them in the same routine. And so those were the example routines and what you should avoid. If you find them helpful and you want to go over them in your own time, I have everything in the description box down below, and you can use it as a guide if you find them helpful. But now I want to keep my focus on the actual application. So I have selected some products, like the treatments not so much, because they can be specifically for skin concerns, which can be on dry skin or on oily skin. But the rest of it is more so suitable if you have a drier skin type. But again, feel free to adjust them accordingly to your skin type and needs overall. So I'm going to get started with the first step, which is cleanser. Make sure that you're using a gentle and suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs. In this example, I'm using one that's great for dry skin. This is Paula's Choice Softening Cream Cleanser. This is just one example. If you have a different one, please make sure to read on the back of the packaging on how you should use your cleanser. Do you have to apply it on dry skin or on wet skin, since this can sometimes change? And can you use it around the eyes, or should you avoid the eye area? Or if it says nothing at all, then you can probably use it around the eyes, but be careful not to get it into your eyes. And if irritation occurs, leave the eye area out and rinse it immediately with water. So in this case, I have to apply it with water. So the first step that I'm going to do is now wetting my face, neck and hands with lukewarm water to warm water above the sink. However, you can also take your cleanser with you in the shower if that's a bit more convenient for you, and this way you're making sure that everything comes off as well, that you're not missing any area and have some residue of your cleanser still on the skin when continuing with the rest of your skincare routine. So let's go ahead and do this. So use about 1 to 2 palms, so about a coin size amount of your cleanser in the palm of your hand. Rub your hands together and gently massage it all over your face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. So, and once you have massaged your cleanser all over your face and neck, you now can immediately rinse it off with lukewarm water to warm water. In case you should have troubles by just removing it with your hands, or you may are trying to remove sunscreen and or makeup as well, using a fresh and soft washcloth in between, which you're going to wet, can help you to remove it a bit better. So now take a fresh towel and pat the skin dry. So once you have pat the skin dry, you can immediately move on to the next step. Now the next step can already be the application of your 8% AHA Gel Exfoliant if you do not want to use an hydrating and soothing toner in between. Then go ahead and apply that one immediately after your cleansing step. But if you do have an hydrating and soothing toner at home, then use that one after your cleansing step but before your exfoliant. And when I'm talking about hydrating and soothing toners, I'm not talking about exfoliating acid toners, because this can be quite confusing based on how it's written on the packaging. And so if you do see the word AHA or BHA or glycolic, lactic, mandelic, PHA or even salicylic acid on your toner or tonic, then those are still exfoliating acid toners, and then I do not recommend using them in the same routine when already working with Paula's Choice 8% AHA Gel Exfoliant, because again then you would work with multiple exfoliating acids in the same routine. So therefore, when you're using a toner, make sure that it does not include like exfoliating acids in your product. And so when working with a toner, I have one example right here, which is Paula's Choice Enriched Calming Toner. This is, for example, great for dry skin. However, I do feel like this works brilliantly on all skin types because it's so lightweight and hydrating. But when it comes to the amount of product that you're using, this is really important. I want to keep my focus on the gel, but I do want to share with you the amount of product that you're going to use when working with a toner. Of course, keep in mind this is just an overall general guide. If you have an opening like this where you're going to pour out some of the liquid of your toner, then I recommend using between 5 to 8 drops, which also depends on how thick the consistency of your toner may be. This can sometimes change as well. Then you may want to reduce it or use a bit more. So when using it in the palm of your hand, and you can count to drops, use between 5 to 8 drops so that you have about a coin size amount in the palm of your hand. And this should be enough when rubbing your hands together to apply it evenly all over your face and neck. Your skin should feel slightly damp, not completely wet. If you're now saying, well, I wanted to apply my toner with a cotton pad, well then when applying it with a cotton pad you need to use a bit more, since the cotton pad already absorbs a bit of the product, but still use about a coin size amount. And I'm going to show you now how much this would be so that you have an overall idea what this would be. So about that much, more or less. So you can see I haven't soaked up the entire cotton pad, because if I would, this would be, first of all, too much product for the entire face and neck, and then your skin can feel easily very wet and the product may not be able to fully absorb into the skin, and second of all, you're wasting quite a lot of product if it's not necessary. So therefore, using about that much when using your toner is important so that you can feel it slightly damp all over the face, but at the same time it is able to absorb very quickly into the skin. And so once you have applied your hydrating and soothing toner, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now I want to keep my focus on the exfoliant. In this case, we're working with an exfoliating acid gel, which comes with a pump. So it's not like a liquid that's so thin that you can pour it out. So that's like one difference. And when it comes to one with a pump, you can use between 1 to 2 pumps. I recommend starting off by using at first 1 pump. And then if you should feel the need of using a bit more, then you can use an additional pump or maybe half a pump to it as well, so that you're able to blend it all over your face and neck. But at the same time, it is able to absorb into the skin. It shouldn't sit on top of the skin surface. And so when applying it, please make sure to not get it into your eyes nor into your mouth. If that's the case, rinse it immediately with water. Please do not use it on top of your eyelids. Please be careful around the corners of your eyes so that you're not getting it too close to the actual corner of the eye, as well as do not bring it too close to the actual lower lash line. You can use it on the eye contour right here, but do not bring it too close upwards on the lower lash line, because this is where sensitivity may occur, or getting it into your eyes as well. Now when it comes to the eye contour, you can use it on the eye contour, but if you do notice some slightly sensitivity, then please avoid the eye contour, or make sure that you're using it less often on your eye contour as you would use it over your face and neck, because sensitive areas may react easily to an exfoliating acid as if you do not apply it on a sensitive area. And by the way, glycolic acid may sting on sensitive skin or compromised skin. So if you know that you have a compromised skin barrier, you know that you have really sensitive skin, I wouldn't recommend looking into this one, because it can sometimes really sting on the skin surface. So when using it, use about 1 to 2 pumps. So this would be already 1 pump. This is quite a lot of product, which should be enough for your face. However, if you include your neck and décolletage as well, and depending on how your skin is going to absorb it, or maybe how large your face, neck and décolletage may be, you can add a bit more to it as well. So, and once you have applied it, then you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now again, the gel should be able to absorb into the skin and it shouldn't sit on top of the skin surface. You want to make sure that you have an even and very thin layer of product that you're using all over your face and neck. And so once you have applied your exfoliant, again, if this is going to be your evening skincare routine, you can stop right here. You do not have to follow with other serums or treatments or moisturizer if you do not feel the need. So that's fine too, to just use the gel on its own. However, if you now would do this during daytime, then again, don't forget sun protection when being exposed to the sun. But I now want to keep my focus on the treatments and moisturizers as well. So when it comes to serums and treatments, I have 3 examples right here, 2 serums as well as one like a creamy-like texture. Depending on your treatment, layer from the thinnest to the thickest. So in this case, I have 2 serums right here, Paula's Choice Niacinamide as well as vitamin C. Those 2 have a very thin texture. So when using one of them, use the thinner texture at first, and then you would layer on to a gel or cream texture afterwards, depending on what your treatments may be, so that you have an understanding of how you would layer several serums and or treatments. And so when using a serum, since it has a very thin texture, in this case you would need to use between like 5 to 8 drops at least, so that you're able to blend it all over your face and neck. However, if you have a serum that has a thicker texture, or you may be using an oil, use between 2 to 3 drops. This should usually be enough. Of course, you can add a couple of drops more if you should feel the need, but again, the main message is don't overdo it. If you have a gel or a cream-like texture treatment, use between like a pea-size amount so that you can evenly apply it over your face and neck if you need to use it all over your face and neck. If it's only like a spot treatment, then of course use a bit less so that you are not going to overdo it. Now the last point that I do want to make, once you have applied your serums and treatments, you're going to leave it on the skin, there's no need to wash it off. And then the last point would be using a moisturizer. Now a moisturizer is the last step in your evening skincare routine. Your moisturizer can also be your last step during daytime when not being exposed to the sun, so if you should feel the need, you can add one to it. If you're going to use a moisturizer before applying your sunscreen, then use the moisturizer at first and then use your regular sunscreen afterwards if you should feel the need. Now when it comes to moisturizer, I have one from Paula's Choice right here, which is the Water-Infusing Electrolyte Moisturizer. That one is great for all skin types, but again, it's just an example. If you prefer something richer because you have a drier skin type, of course, go ahead and exchange it. And then use about a pea-size amount. Maybe if you have a drier skin type, use a bit more. And then evenly apply it over your face and neck, and then you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. So about that much, more or less. And then apply it on top of your exfoliant and or serums, as well as treatments. So, and once you have applied your moisturizer, then again, that would be it. This can be the last step in your morning and or evening skincare routine. And again, when being exposed to the sun, please don't forget sun protection. Apply it 10 to 15 minutes before sun exposure and apply it liberally all over your face and neck. Now, if you want to know how you can properly apply your moisturizer with SPF or your regular sunscreen, I have a specific video for you, which I can link in the top right corner so that you can check it out, where you can see the entire application as well. But this would be an example of an evening skincare routine, since I do advise using exfoliating acids in your evening skincare routine if you can. But of course, this depends on your overall skincare routine and products that you may be using. Then you need, of course, to adjust it. But other than that, this is what I wanted to share with you on how you can use Paula's Choice 8% Gel Exfoliant. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find it helpful. And if you want to see other skincare videos with the application, or you want to see some example skincare routines, I have several videos on my YouTube channel, which I can link at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye!